Hello.
Hello. All right. So we are live. Yay. And I am Dr. Toni. I am so glad for everyone that is here today. We are going to do, this is our second to last Grow Through Adversity interview in this quarter. We do it 2 quarters per year. And so we're coming to a close at the end of May for this quarter. And Clara has reached out, and I loved hearing her story so much that I actually followed up to her application to find out more, to make sure that the parts of her story, that are so powerful that she wanted to share them here. And she said that she does. So we are blessed to have you here today, Clara. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, I'm blessed to be here too. Well, I study psychology. I'm a writer and I'm a coach, a life coach. And I love mindfulness and I love Ho'oponopono and I love meditation and everything of that. So that it gives me strength in my life and a spiritual upgrade in my growth too.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I was just telling Clara, I said, when we do these Growth Through Adversity interviews, the things we focus on are really the stories, the truth of the story, the emotion and the connection of the stories, because inspiration and connecting with that is so much more powerful than information, right? Like there's so much information out there for all of us to access. It is sometimes it can be overwhelming, right? Like information overload for a lot of folks. But here in this space that we create, the space that we have together, and uniquely you and I, Clara, today, we're going to have, a real conversation about your real experience. And we're not going to be teaching or preaching at anyone. Like we're here because we've experienced challenges in our lives and it's inspired us. It's helped us to inspire others. It's led to our healing. And so Clara, actually, even though she just shared a lot about herself, that she's an author, she's a coach, right? So she's doing all of these things with her life. She was not always in that place, right, Clara? It was not always quite this way.
Yes, it wasn't quite this way because for 20 years, I was in schools like a psychology and with teenagers, with kids, of preschool kids and primary kids and young kids. So I worked in schools making programs, health programs, value programs, emotional programs, and I teach. And I accompanied parents, teachers, and students. Yes, that was my work for 20 years. So in one of my works, an event happened. An event that changed all my mindset, an event that changed all my emotions and my inner self. Yes, it was an accident.
While you're at work?
Yes, well, I was working and I was in a holiday. Yes, I was in a holiday with my husband and my kid. He was 2 years and a half, and I had a 3-month girl. Yes, and she was with my mother-in-law. Yes, she didn't go to the journey, so we went like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only to Texas. We're near Texas, like for 4.5 hours. So we did it on the road, on car, and it was fabulous because it was a time for us, for the family. And we went to a park, a water park, and we were amazed. In South Padre Island, do you know that?
No.
It was there, and when we were very happy and we enjoyed all the journey, but something happened when we returned to Mexico. Yes, it was an accident, a car accident, and the other driver blinked and slipped a little, and he went to our road, and front to front, we bumped. Yes, and it was fatal because the other people, I was the only one conscious in the accident.
Oh my God.
Yes, because my son was sleeping, and my husband, when we bumped, he get unconscious too for 20 minutes, and that was for me. Oh, it was. I was frustrated in the moment because I was the only one conscious. So, but there were people around us that help us, and I see that people as angels, and they helped me to get out my husband from the car, yes, and get out my son from a window that was, it was a town and country, and in the back, it has like a window. I was in the back with my son that was sleeping, and I carried him and gave it to the people, and they carried me and let me out from there. But I was injured by the time when they get out, when I get out of the car. But I had an inner force that gave me the strength to see for my family, for my husband and my son in that moment. And I have a cell phone. I had a cell phone, so that cell phone, I use that cell phone, and people from there tell me, no, we have a restaurant. You can call from the restaurant with your parents, with everyone that you need to be in touch. No, so they help a lot. They help a lot from and.
So you were on a family vacation. You had a 2.5-year-old and a 3-month-old, but the 3-month-old was with the mother-in-law, so she was not with you all. And
No.
it sounds like you had a wonderful time from what you're saying. It was a lot of
Yes.
fun, and
Yes.
you were headed back home from Texas to Mexico, but a truck driver fell asleep at the wheel and slammed into the front. So it was a head-on collision of both of you.
Yes. Yes.
And everyone was unconscious except for you while you were waiting for help,
Yes.
for people to come. And
Yes.
so at that point, how you said you were injured, like what was going through your mind? What were you experiencing at that point?
Well, at that point, I was only willing to save my son and my husband, not to save myself. Yes, I want to save my family. That's what that was in my mind. So it was a Suburban. The other car was a Suburban. So
Okay, it wasn't a truck.
No, it was a Suburban, and but I saw how when we bumped, everyone in the other truck was not with a seatbelt, and they were flying. You know that. So it was something that I for 2 weeks I didn't sleep because it was something that was in my mind forever. And
Of course,
it's more than 2 weeks. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, more. Yes. So I have to be with professionals. Yes, to guide me.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to give me pills. Yes, because of all the things that were happening and I saw and everything. But I told them, no, I can do it. I can do it by myself, but with your guide. That's very important to have a guide for that time for the things that I saw. And then when we were at the accident and we get out of the car and everything, there was only ambulance for the other family. So it was difficult for us to go for medical attention. Yes, but I talked to my father that was here in my hometown, and he made that everything move. I don't know how, but but he made everything move, and we could reach a hospital, a private hospital in Matamoros, Tamaulipas, that it's near Texas.
Was there only one ambulance? Because they were they more, was there more of a physical, did they have more like accidents, like physical accidents? Why was there only one ambulance for them, but not for you all?
No, because there was like two ambulance, because it was a small town. It was San Fernando, so it was a small town with two ambulances and everything. And wow, that was amazing. So I get with my son, and I let my husband there. It was a difficult decision for me because he was unconscious, but he got up and he saw me with my kid unconscious, and he told me, go, you have to go with him. I'll wait for the help here. And then they helped him and to so he could go with us. But it was like I didn't fainted for the moment. I was alert to all the help that they needed in that moment. And my husband was with a femur fracture, so he couldn't move. Yes, it was difficult that too. So we went to the private hospital, and when we got there, my father and my father-in-law get there by plane, and we saw them. And when we saw them, I fainted because I already
had an adrenaline rush.
Yes.
And you took care of what you needed to take care of. And then once you got to safety, your body crashed.
And my last request was to be with my son in the same room, because we were fatally injured. We had a loss of a lot of blood and everything, and I told everyone, no, I want him with me. Yes, not in internal cares, with me. Okay, so my request was too that my husband was near us so I can see him. So I talked and I fainted, and I didn't know anything then. Until night. I was like slept, and I waked up for a little, and I only hear the doctor say to my father, if your grandson and your daughter pass this night, it's gonna be all right for a treatment. And that was for me complicated, because I had fear of dying in that moment, and that my son died. It was complicated for me, and that my 3-month girl was in my hometown alone. Yes, and everything of that was my thought, and I was worried about them.
Of course. That's petrifying. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine being in that position where, I mean, you're awake for the whole thing and you're on alert because you've gone into, I need to get us to safety mode, right? And then your child is hurt, you are hurt, your husband's hurt. You're limited on what you can do and where you can go. A miracle happens by getting you to this private hospital, which sounds like a far-fetched chance for that to happen in the first place.
Yes.
And then you're there. And then at that point, when do you learn what condition you, your son, and your husband are in?
Well, when I get to the hospital, I saw myself injured, and I saw how my son was and my husband, and that was frustrating because I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was only uh, a divine soul or something, or that can save us, like a miracle, like you said. And in the private hospital, they told us we were a miracle because the police already told all the family here in my hometown that we were dead.
Oh
And that was,
my.
yes, and that was something that, yes, and that was something such as an impact that in the community and in my family members, that they didn't believe it, because my mother already was talking to me. My father was talking to me. My father went with me and everything, and it was all wrong. It was all wrong. So I knew that when I was doing my book, Isabel Changes Our Life, because it's a book. It's a book about the accident, and it's a book about my story before the accident, how I was and how I wrote and how I am right now, another person. I grow a lot with that experience, and it made me more emotional too, and it made me like um, it made me see that I had a second chance to do something. If I didn't pass that
At what,
night,
yeah, well, at what
it
point,
was,
Clara, was it like there, at what point did like that fear kick in, or did it not? Did you not feel any fear at any point throughout this crisis?
well, I didn't feel fear. I feel that in the crisis, I feel that I had to help. Yes. And I have to help, and I have to help others. And I don't know. I think it's something that I have in my personality to help others. And I was not worried about me. I was worried about the others. Yes. But that was something that now I see, and I see that I have to work with me too. And I have to embrace myself, and I have to see things for me too. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's something that I learned through the accident. Yes,
Wh-
and from the
How did
guides and everything.
how did the accident affect your lives after that? So, like, were there ongoing impacts to you or your son or your husband after the accident?
Well, yes, we had to have an uh, inner work, a lot of inner work, a lot of emotional work, because it was something very, very, very. It was an adversity that changed our lives. We value life more. Yes, we value our family members. I value my girl too, and everything in life. And it teaches us that we have a second chance to do more. So what, for everyone, for my husband, for me, for my son, yes, it was a second chance.
Mm,
And
wow.
it's a second chance. And I was like, I write since I had 7 years old, and I didn't publish a book. So at 40, I I made the book, the first book, yes, and I published it. So for my husband, it was like we have to enjoy life, and as a family, we're more like united, no?
Yeah. Was there physical? So there's a lot of emotional
Yes.
pieces to work through, of course, because that was a trauma for not just a trauma for you yourself, but a trauma then for you to witness your loved ones go through. So many layers. of the
Yes,
trauma. Was there physical trauma to your bodies? Was there any physical
yes,
rehab?
yes. You know, they give me treatment for all the blood that I was losing, and for my son too. So we did it to the next day, and we're here. We did it to the next day, and we're here, and my husband too, and we learned that it was a miracle. We cannot explain anything. Yes, we only know that we have something to do, another mission to do. Yes, and my mission is, for me, is writing, is sharing with the world, and for my son is to live. Yes, to live happily the world, and my husband is to be happy with the family and getting out for trips and everything. I had a lot of time. I didn't want to drive, for example.
Yeah, that's
Yes, I didn't like it. Yes, and it was difficult for me driving then. But I told myself, well, I have fear, but I can go through this like little by little. There are techniques for that.
yeah.
Yes, there are techniques for that, little by little, and then with guides and everything. And I find myself. I studied mindfulness for I know mindfulness for like 11 years, and I studied something on mindfulness by email. Yes, with a coach there in the US. Everything in English, but I love it. I love it. And then I was now I was studying mindfulness as a way of life. Yes. So the past and the future doesn't matter. It matters what you're doing today. Yes. Now. So it's
Being
a way of
present,
life in the
being
present.
present. Yeah, in the moment. I'm curious though, Clara, because when there is a big accident like that, it's often, human to, when there's pain, to want to find blame.
Yes.
And that can fuel a lot of anger. And it's fair for someone to feel that way. We don't want to stay stuck in that. But I'm curious, Clara, if you ever felt or had to deal with any anger towards the driver that fell asleep and that hit you, and it affected your whole family.
Yes, of course. I had anger with him, but with other people too. I was angry every day and everything. And yes, I'm human. Yes, so I had to work anger a lot, and mindfulness and Ho'oponopono helped me for that. Ho'oponopono helped me to forgive everything about the driver, to forgive and and to forgive everything from me too, or all that anger that I felt. Yes, because you know that it's a forgiveness technique. Yes, and forgiveness for me is it's a path for happiness. Yes, so I
It's
wrote
awesome.
a book of that. I wrote in 3 days a book named Forgiveness as a Gift, because it's a gift. It's not uh, forgiveness like blame yourself, and no, it's forgiveness like uh, doing that path of love, of happiness, and teach to other ones to practice forgiveness. Yes.
I think that's like, so there's the miracle of the actual incident, you all surviving, you all getting treatment like in a fast enough time to keep you all alive, and the perspective shift that changed your life as a result. So there's that miracle. And then there's the second chance as part of that. And then there's this forgiveness which is a miracle in and of itself sometimes, but really hard, I think, for a lot of people
Hard,
to
yes.
hear and take in and ingest, because there are people, Clara, that may be listening today, tomorrow, next year, that have been hurt, have been emotionally hurt, physically hurt, maybe even sexually hurt, like have been hurt, maybe from a stranger or from someone they care about, someone they know, someone they love. And that hurt fuels fear and anger, and they're allowed to feel that way. It makes total sense why they feel that way. Like you said, we're human, we're right, like we're going to have that human reaction. And then at the same time, it's like we can't stay flooded by the fear and the pain and the anger forever, because it holds us back, keeps us stuck, prevents us from being who we truly want to be and can be, and the life that we want to live. And then forgiveness is like, but how do I, it can feel so frustrating, right? Like forgiveness is such a big one. I've had so many conversations with people around forgiveness. I myself have had my own experiences with having to work through some challenging forgiveness. So I know that we can't break down forgiveness in the last few minutes we have together, but I am curious, Clara, if you have like one or two pieces of advice from your experience that might help someone who's struggling with forgiveness right now.
Well, one of the things that I will say, it is something difficult because we're human, but you have to practice forgiveness with there are meditations for forgiveness. I have one of them, and Ho'oponopono it's a great strategy for forgiveness and to go to your inner self and to know why are you angry, or with whom are you angry, or if you're angry with yourself, and you have to release and heal that anger. But it has to be something that has to be continuous. It's gonna be, you have to practice every day. It's not something that you say, yes, I forgive you, and that's it. No,
right?
It has to be, it has to be something. It's a way of life. Like it's a way of life. And yes, you get angry because you're human, but you have to go to forgiveness meditations that makes you see what that you're doing that reality, and you're you have that resentment in your heart that it's like stopping you from doing something. When you release that bag that you have in your back, it's fabulous, because you understand that everything that happens, you made everything that happens in your life. Yes. And if you are angry and you have that resentment, you cannot be happy at all, because you're like, everything is awful for you, and you don't enjoy life. So it's something that you have to practice every day, not only one day. Yes, it's something that you have to be with a guide that knows about the topic. Yes, and knows how to manage forgiveness. It's not only like, I'm going to do it alone and everything. No, I had guides for it. Yes, and between that guides, there was something that happened to me like 3 years after the accident. Yes, because you know that our body speaks too when something is wrong. Yes, with illness, or with something that happens. No, for example, for me, it was that when 3 years later I was sick because of my liver. Yes, and I write it down to you there in my story. And it was something that had to make noise to me and told me there's something wrong.
Yeah.
You have to work more to heal yourself. Yes.
It really had to
And
get your attention so that you would slow down
yes,
even more and take care of yourself.
take care of yourself. And that's what I told you first, that I had to learn to care of myself. And I wasn't caring about of myself. So that's when I work with mindfulness, with Ho'oponopono and all the guides, and they made me see that I have to express myself to feel what I was feeling at that moment. That it was, well, I was like with a lot of fear, and with a lot of fear to see what I was going to do next. Okay, so when I had that episode of my liver, it was an allergy to some pills I was taking, but the doctor told me, we don't know what you have. Yes,
Oh,
and I was in the hospital for 5 days, and they had to cut a part of my liver so they can analyze that, so they can not know what happens to me. They were thinking I got a tumor. Yes,
mm,
and it was for me like, what am I going to do? My girl has 3 years. It's 3 years old, and my son is 5 years old, and my husband. Yes, that was difficult for me too, and it made me grow a lot,
yeah,
a lot.
yeah. And so what I hear you saying, Clara, is that you've had a series, even in adulthood, right? Like a series of unexpected challenges, trauma to your body, emotional trauma, trauma to your family that have popped up, and you had the choice to kind of stay stuck in all of the muck of the frustration, the lack of fairness, right? Like it's not
Hmm.
fair, the anger, the fear, which are all valid ways to feel, of course, but you have the choice to stay stuck in that
Yes,
or to choose forgiveness so that you
yes,
could move forward and find a way to appreciate the presence, just moment by moment by moment by moment, which I think is really important for whoever is listening to hear. Is that I agree, it is not done overnight. It's not a light switch. If you're an achiever like me and you like to get things done, it's not something you can just get done and check off your list. It is not like that. It just cannot be like that. But it can heal, it can improve, it can feel better, it can, right? Like there is still so much hope, so much hope. And I think, Clara, you are an example of that from what you shared today. You're like, we were in this car accident. I had so much anger. They fell asleep. They hit us. They could have killed us. It's a miracle we
yes,
survived. And so how could they do that to us? And at the same time, it's like, I don't want to hold on to that. I don't want to be, that's not the version of me I want to be. And then even as you learned how to take care of yourself more, there were still some other bumps in the road with the liver and some other physical ailments that were reminders like, oh, wait, pay
yes,
attention, take care of yourself, slow
yes,
down, tune in, listen to your body. And so for anyone that's listening, especially women and moms, this is a big one, that we
yes,
always take care of ourselves, and that is not a bad, selfish thing. It is a full thing that allows us then to overflow and to give to others and help others and serve others and inspire others. And I think, Clara, that you give a great example of that in your story today. So thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thanks for inviting me here to your program. And I love to have these chats. I love to have these chats in Spanish and English. I don't know French right now,
Well, I don't
but
either, but I would like to.
but but I love it. I love it. And if you want to know me more, you can go to my Facebook page, Clara Govela Publicaciones, videos y frases. It's in Spanish, but don't worry, there are things in English there. And in my Instagram, I'm in @Centro Clara Govela, because I have a center right now that helps people to achieve happiness and to achieve changes in their lives here in my hometown. But we are in every part of the world, Latin American world, and I in London too. We're in London too with some people, and in the US and everything. So for me, it's a pleasure to share my story, because we learn with testimonies, life testimonies.
So true. So true. I love that. And so, Clara, we always like to, as we come to a close, and I have a couple more questions for you. One of the things I want to ask, I always do, is because we're about inspiration in this community in particular, what is it, who is it, who or what inspires you the most, or your life the most right now? What is inspiring, or who is inspiring to you right now?
Well, for me, it's my family. That's true, and you will see it with my story. But I think it's inspiring to give a message of hope to the world, and to help others is, for me, something that I like to do, but to help me too, and it's not selfish. And by culture here in Mexico is like you have to help others like a mother and everything, and not seeing yourself and taking care of yourself. That's what I had from these things that happened to me, that I learned to heal myself, to take care of myself, and that's the point here. You have to be real good so you can help others. If you're not good, you cannot help others.
That's like that internal balance is what I talk about, right? Our bodies want to have a sense of homeostasis. It's always striving for that. That's balance. That's internal wellness. And so if we're neglecting our own systems, then our system cannot function as well as it could, and when we can function better, when we're functioning optimally, we're just better able to live, to serve, to love, to lead, to everything. Right. And so, Clara, are there any last pieces that you would like to share with the audience, or any last ways to connect with you that you would like to share if someone wants to reach out or maybe find your book?
Well, they're in my books on Amazon. Inner Peace is one of the books that I recommend right now, so you can work with your inner self, and you can find Isabel Changes of a Life. This is in Spanish, but the one in English, it's more or less like this one. So you can find it in English. It's Isabel Changes of a Life on Amazon, and Forgiveness is a Gift. And there are like 7 books in Spanish, and 6 of them are in English. So love, I write about love and everything. So if you want to reach for me, you can send me a message on the messenger of my fan page, or a direct in Instagram, or if you like, you can reach for me in my website, centroclaragovela.com. Okay,
Awesome.
There's these 3 channels for you, and my YouTube is Clara Govela Videos, and you can reach them there for me too.
Thank you so much, Clara, for sharing your story with us, your time, your energy. We really appreciate you being here with us. I should say, I'll speak for myself. I really appreciate you being here with us, and for sharing with us. And for all of you who are listening, I'll ask Clara. Clara, I'll tag you so that you can write in those ways to connect with you.
Yes.
So if you want to connect with Clara, we'll have that in the comment section in the Facebook community. And for those that are curious about Ho'oponopono, which Clara mentions several times, it is a practice. I encourage you to check it out. It was initially discovered by a professor, and I believe he was also a psychologist, if I remember correctly.
Dr. Len is the professor. Yes.
Yeah, so he was going into jails, and he was meeting with inmates, and his process of the Ho'oponopono, which is simple, just 4 statements, but his process in working with them actually helped them to improve and to heal in a way that no one else was able to do. And that this is a story that's told from quite a while ago. It's not like a new story, but Ho'oponopono is a tool now, a practice that many in the self-development field have either embraced themselves or shared with others. And you got to find it out. You got to feel it out for yourself to see if that's something that fits for you with where you're at on your journey. So I'd encourage you to check that out as well. So thank you so much, Clara. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this interview. Thank you to everyone who's listening. And I'm here to help you and to guide you to, and I had a lot of guides, a lot of work, emotional work, physical work, in my thoughts too. Yes, because the mind is powerful. So you have to work with your thoughts too, so you can achieve your better self or your inner self, or to work with your inner self too.
Absolutely. Thank you, Clara. Thank you, everyone who's joined us, whether you came live or you're catching the replay. You can reach out to Clara by checking out the comment section in the Facebook community. And if you're catching this on YouTube, you can connect with the Facebook community. There will be a link in the comment section below. And if you would like to connect with me, all of those links will be in there for me as well. Have an amazing day, everyone.
Bye. Adios.